Hi, are we back? Oh god. It, please type something in the chat if you can. Fuck my life. Ay, Dios mío. Okay. Are we back? Are we back? We're back? Okay, thank God. Okay, I don't know why it did that. I guess it OBS in a confusing turn of events has decided to kill itself right on camera. Or I guess off camera, technically. We did cut out there just now. I don't know why that happened. I hope it doesn't happen again. Yeah, I'm early for a path stream. The recent OBS update has been kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know what... I don't know. This is the first time this has happened in a bit, though. To be fair... being fair to OBS, this is the first time this has happened in a bit, and it's normally an outstandingly good program, so... Yeah, I do feel like I don't know how to put this, like... OBS does so much for me that it's that every time it's like I feel like I should be doing that everybody was kneeling shit from Baki whenever like they release an update or anything. Hang on. Okay. How do I Okay. God, this color wheel fucks me up a little bit. That doesn't look like cheese anymore is the thing. It looks more like cheese now than it did before. That's so confusing. That actually doesn't look too bad. I think if we switch the hue to like something more orange. Oh, I have to lurk to do homework. Have a good rest of the stream and sandwich. Thank you. I appreciate that. I always like it when you come by. Thank you for visiting. Ooh, actually, yeah, that looks much more like toast crumbs. Let's go with that. Yeah, I think the other thing that's missing is that this side doesn't have enough, enough, like, brown crust on it. This should fix that. Yeah, I'm gonna call that a successful attempt at a sandwich. Okay. Let's try doing something else now. Let's try doing a different picture. How about Goku? I'm gonna do Goku. Let's see. Where's that one picture of him where he looks pissed off? This is the one. Son Goku. Oh, actually, wait. Before I leave this one, I should probably make a new palette from the sprite. Okay, and actually, let's try and do something else. Let's try to crop. Hang on, sprite, canvas size, crop. There we go. How big is this one? 23 by 12 pixels. That's pretty good. That 23 by 12 pixels is pretty good considering, you know, what we started with and the fact that it's still to some extent legible as a sandwich. Okay. Vegeta, the Discord leaked. Vegeta, we have to blow up the Earth. Okay. Alright, you know the drill. So new palette, let's make that 36 colors. Then we are going to do... Oh wait, no, I did this in the wrong order. So properties, color mode, indexed. Okay, there we go. That should limit the palette here to what's just over here. And actually, you know what? Before we do that, let me actually just go ahead and... Oh, this might actually be a little bit tough. Do we have like a tolerance? Yes, we do. Okay, perfect. I need to increase the tolerance on the background that we're selecting, but that's going to be a little bit tough. Hang on. Let's bump up that tolerance quite a bit. Now, the only thing I have to watch out for is that this is also gonna wing some of his hair. Can you select some shit, please? Thank you. Also, hang on. Okay. Where were we? Right. I think that's about everything. I think the only parts that were selected on this were little bits of white. So maybe what we can do is we can use the marquee tool and use the subtract from selection thing to kind of preserve as much of the meat of this as possible. Mostly just so that the only part left is like the parts that are like almost pure white. That way they'll be easy enough to replace once we downscale the image. Wait a minute. I have an idea. Let's quickly abscond to my good old pal Clip Studio Paint. Okay, where's the one that I picked? Here it is. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to just remove the shadows here where it's much easier and faster. Because CSP was made by an actual large-scale group of people, and so their wand tool works just marginally better. And it's easier for the purposes that I'm about to use it for. Yeah, I don't know why I was struggling that long in A-Sprite. This is where it's at. Love it when a wand tool is actually good, right? It really is just like the difference between night and day sometimes. Just like, oh god, like a good wand tool can turn a tedious project into a really fun one. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. You know what might have also been damaging it is that I had contiguous clicked off. That's probably why it was selecting a bunch of crap that I didn't need it to. That was my bad. That was my bad, honestly. Hang on. Why don't we have alpha here? Why is it red? Why? Why? Why any of this? Why? I don't get it. You know what? Sometimes understanding the source of your suffering doesn't make it any less painful, so I think I'm just gonna move on. Let's see. Selection. Modify, expand by 1 pixel. There we go. Okay, now we hit them with the properties, color mode, indexed. And then new palette from sprite. And this time we're gonna make it like 36 colors. Why is it dark red like that? Why does it feel like... Hang on, don't save. Why does it feel like the palette is angry at me? Why does Goku feel like he's angrier than usual? I think it's because like some of the parts of him are like extra saturated and crispy now. Okay. Let's... Oh, wait, hang on. No, why? Why, God? Why? Tell me, why? Why, baby, why? Okay, let's try this. He's Kakarot now. Yeah, God. We've hit him with enough Photoshop sorcery that that the brain damage from the Saiyan pod got undone. He's evil now. Alright, sprite size, lock ratio, method, nearest neighbor. Sure, why not? Okay, 1080. Let's divide that by 5. Honestly, that's pretty good. That's actually, I think, okay, how much is that actually in terms of pixels? 216 by 384. We can do better. Alright, I believe we can do... Don't look at that. I believe we can do better. Let's just remove the home tab. We could do better than that. Let's do... Sprite size. We can divide that by 4, I think. Oh no. Uh-oh. We might have flown too close to the sun. Look at how they butchered my boy. Okay. Maybe divided by 4 is a little bit much. Let's do how about divided by 2? You know what? I can work with this. Wiimote BitCrunch speaker. It's me, Goku! Okay, we can work with this, though. I do think we can work with this. Alright. I believe. I believe in paradise. Okay. Why are you not letting me erase pixels? Okay, why are you not... Oh, wait. Why are you not letting me erase pixels anymore? What is your fucking problem? Why is this picture of Goku so cursed? Okay, maybe we need to start from scratch or something. Okay. Why is it red again? Oh, wait, I think... Okay, hang on. I think I understand what happened. Let's try this. I think it was doing that because I saved this as a JPEG, not as a... whatchamacallit, PNG. So if we do this, but export as PNG... You know what? I take back what that thing I said about the source of your suffering. Sometimes it really does help to understand where your suffering is coming from. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so let's do color mode indexed. Right, that's step 1. Next step, new palette from sprite. And color count limit, let's say 32. Remap that sucker. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, I can definitely work with this. All right, let's sprite size, divide that by, fuck it, I don't know, 8. That's still very recognizably Goku. I can absolutely work with this. Perfect. Okay. I kind of feel like giving him a solid outline. Let's try and simplify this palette as much as we can. Okay, so for example, for this one, we would not choose contiguous, we would choose... Why is it doing that now? Maybe we do need to maybe we do need contiguous? I don't... Why are you acting like this? What? Oh, it's because I've got this tolerance set to 22, that's why. Heavens for service. Okay, there's a lot of different stray pixels that are just randomly colored this color for whatever reason. Let's just turn these into this dark black color. How about this color? Is this... Oh, that's really prevalent. Okay. Subtract from selection. Subtract from selection. Subtract from selection. And then use the fill tool. It's not much, but it's honest work. Honest. That's what a lot of this feels like. Let's see. I like how half of them are up in his hair. Why do we have so much blue? Were his eyes that deep and beautiful? I don't think we needed that many blues on the sprite, to be quite honest. But then again, I'm not the unthinking, unfeeling machine whose whole purpose is to select pixels. So, you know, maybe I'm the one in the wrong this time. Well, okay, calling it unthinking and unfeeling is a little bit of a harsh critique. I do think it definitely feels something, and I do think that emotion is hatred. But, you know, that's not unfeeling. How could there possibly be... Hang on. Okay, let's see here. It is really funny how whenever I step like one, I do gas myself up a lot is the thing. I do think that I'm that guy a lot of the time. But it's really funny when I step out of my comfort zone for 2 seconds and then immediately get low dosed by whatever program I'm using. I think this happened with KidPix even. You know, there's a little bit of a precedent for this. Let's see. Let's just turn these into this color. I will say I do appreciate the people who are out on Wplace that are posting entire pictures that don't have these other little, these like little artifact JPEG thingies all edited out, because there's something that's so, I don't know, there's something weirdly comforting about that specific style. I don't know how else to put it. It feels like there's something about like super bit crushed images that feels like coming home to an old friend. His neck is fucking huge. Let's pare that down a little bit. Nobody's gonna mind if I give Goku a neck-ectomy, right? I don't know. Is there neck reduction surgery? Is that a thing that can happen? I don't know. There's a lot of fucked up beauty treatments out there in the world. It is possible. I don't know. I feel like neck-ectomy is definitely the sort of thing that you would need, like, you would probably want a valid medical reason for. I don't know. I feel like the neck is definitely one of those parts that's going to be, like, way grosser to operate on than other parts of the body, relatively speaking. So I feel like they would probably have at least some controls in place, you know, to be like, okay, so we understand you're frustrated with your long neck. Do you maybe want to, like, I don't know, consider maybe like a... I don't know. You know what? On the other hand, it is none of my business what people with long necks want to do with their lives. It's not right of me to speculate on this matter. Okay. Okay, where else does this color show up? But I do imagine that there is, like, a condition where your neck is definitely too long. I do imagine that that has to be a thing. I feel like the scope of human history is broad enough and wide enough that we would have that as an issue at some point, in some period of time. This really is just a lot of... How do I put this? It's what I like to call carpinteria. Not necessarily particularly glamorous, not necessarily complicated, but it is still required and extensive. That was a phrase my dad used to use for, like, showing my... Like when I would, like, be very close on a math problem but not get it quite right. And it's because I'd missed, like, a small calculation there somewhere or nothing. Or something, rather. I don't know. I feel like I've taken that approach, that idea and approach in a lot of parts of my life. Very core memory having my dad teach me how to do math correctly. Okay. God, it is only as an adult that I also sympathize a lot with, like, him doing that and him, like, being like, okay, what does your textbook say? Walk me through it. And, you know, as an adult, you look back on it and it's like, oh, okay, it's probably because he hasn't had to do this for a while either. Like, he was just so good at helping me understand what I needed to learn that I didn't even notice that, like, he never actually provided some of the answers himself. Let's see. Let's add this here, this here. Okay, we can probably remove the shirt one down here. And then we can replace that with this. Wait, hang on. I gotta check something real quick. What kind of he was obviously... Okay, I see. That's supposed to be like the frowny face. Okay. It's just like right now he looks like he's smirking a little bit, right? Like if I do this, this one makes it look like he's smirking, and that's such a scary ass expression for Goku to make. You know what I mean? I feel like if Goku is smirking at you, then that's like a... I feel like that's when I would be like, have I fucked up in my life somewhere? Have I... Do I need to reconsider my life choices? Goku when Frieza hits him with a dime store key blast. The crazy part is that, like, Frieza's... It is so fucking funny, right? Like, Frieza... Being Frieza must be a fucking insane Zoolander-style comedy from top to bottom, for real. Like, for so long, right? For at least 20 plus years, you've been at the top of the game. You know, you're conquering planets, you're reselling them for a profit. You're the fucking space overlord of space overlords. You are fucking that guy, right? And then 35 years later, after you completely destroy an entire species of people, you are on this fuck-ass little planet. You just realize that you're never gonna get your immortality. You want to take your anger out on something, and then this random motherfucker who says he's from Earth, you can tell he's a Saiyan, but he's not listening to you right now. This fucking guy comes up to you, and he starts giving you the beating of your fucking life. He doesn't hold back. He doesn't have any mercy. You have never been in this sort of pain before. You've never known what it was like to fear for your life. You are learning today. And eventually, you're like, oh god, okay, is it over? And then he, like, leans back a little bit and is like, nah, you know what? This fucking sucks and you suck at fighting. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going back to Earth. Bye. Yeah, complete L over after L over the 3 days. You know what? Actually, no. The Namek saga lasted like a lot longer than that. But I felt that those were the longest 3 days of Frieza's life. This is a guy who was on a generational run for like most of his entire life, suddenly coming to grips with the fact that he wasn't that guy. God. The crazy part is that he had actually been taking L's a little bit too before Goku stepped in. Like that bit where Vegeta fucking got him with the Dragon Balls, like where he managed to successfully like decoy everybody in the Frieza main ship and managed to get away with the Dragon Balls. That was pretty good. Like he got good that time, but like, you know, not on the scale where Goku got him. He was running a successful real estate business, but he didn't lift. Literally the only part where he went wrong. The rest of his evil schemes, they worked. They, you know, ethics aside, the rest of his evil schemes worked. He just forgot to fucking do leg day, and it bit him in the ass in such a way that he was unable to recover for perhaps decades. You do love to see it a little bit. I guess the moral of the story is don't forget leg day. Let's see. I've been trying to get and do something more about my lack of exercise recently. Like I've been trying to go running recently, and I've tried to like find out a couple of things to do exercise more regularly, but I'm finding that the biggest barrier isn't like my will anymore. Like I'm at that point now where I'm like, okay, if I want to exercise, I can just do that. But my problem is like the timing of it. Don't be a Dragon Ball villain when Goku hasn't gotten his upgrade in a while. God. Yeah, no, it is a lot like... I'm going to say that being a Dragon Ball villain must be a lot like being a dude being like a farmer who's in harvest for a very specific amount per season. Like, you gotta swoop in just the right time, and even then it's not really particularly guaranteed that you're gonna get the W, right? Like, that's just like giving you the opportunity to maybe humiliate this guy a little bit. And then, like 5 days later, he's gonna come for that run back and you're going to die. I still think that the only Dragon Ball villain that I can remember who has gotten a clean W over Goku is fucking Tao Pai Pai. Would working out before bed work for your schedule? I think it would, but the thing is that Yeah, I would need a shower right after that though. But I can live with that. That's a decent thing. I'm trying to do it in the morning. I feel like being able to get up at the morning consistently is kind of what I need at this particular point in time to power up in my life. I don't know. I'm a grown-ass man. It feels like I should be waking up at 6:30 in the morning more consistently. Wait, was Tao Pai Pai the only guy who's actually gotten a clean win over Goku? Wait, okay, no. He's the only villain who's gotten a clean win over Goku. Jackie Chun beat his ass at one time. Jackie Chun, King Piccolo, and Cell also got clean W's on Goku. That's crazy. I mean, wait, does Cell count? I feel like Goku just stopped fighting Cell and was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't know if that counts as a W, because now hear me out. If Goku's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, Tao Pai Pai, Yamcha in his very first introduction, King Piccolo, Tien, oh god. Yamcha. You think he still thinks about that one time? Do you think that, like, in his dark moments, Yamcha is like, you know what, I still got one over Kid Goku. That first time we met, where he was almost starving, and he had, like, 2 non-combatants with him. Feel, like, that's, like, what he looks at. I beat Goku once when he was at his weakest. Like, it really does have to eat at him that's, like, one of the cleanest wins he's ever gotten. I don't think it's even necessarily that it was like Goku at his weakest. Like, I do think like maybe Yamcha just might feel bad at some point for having beaten up a child. I hope he did. Even if that child is Goku, I feel like eventually if you fought a child, if you've punched a baby, I feel like you should probably feel bad about punching that baby if you're claiming to be a good guy at some point. Like, do you think that Yamcha is, like, talking up his WL record, and, like, he eventually has to, like, go back and tally them properly because he doesn't count he has to remember not to count the ones that he got over, like, unarmed people that he robbed when he was a bandit? Yamcha's baseball career gets canceled over this? God. You do have to wonder how much of a problem this is for some shonen protagonists. Like, do you think that, like, in other series where it was, like, kids fighting with swords on, like, their school rooftop or some shit, like, they'll get canceled for being, and be like, this person fought a child with a sword once, and the guy has to be like, to be fair, I was also a child at the time, so it's not even that bad. Like, are there lawyers who have to specialize in shonen torts? All right, let's see here. Yeah, that ear looks much more proportional now. I do think that Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the funniest shonen series for introducing a character whose whole thing is that he's a lawyer, but he still just like keeps beating the shit out of everybody like everyone else. So it's kind of hard to root for him a little bit. Like in case anybody ever gets like into legal trouble for the shit that they did during that series, that guy's up to bat, and I'm not liking his chances since they could just dig up dirt on him too. I should probably read Jujutsu Kaisen properly at some point. I think my local library has a few volumes of it, so I might as well check it out at some point. Apollo just as if he'd locked in. Yeah, I'm about to update the fucking the fucking coroner's report. Phoenix already locked in. He was in a fighting game. That's true. He wasn't... Okay, no, he wasn't in 2 fighting games. I'm thinking of, like, Project Zone X or whatever that one game was called, where Majima said that he helped... that Phoenix helped him dodge a murder charge or some shit. He wasn't the crossover RPG. That's the one. Honestly, this is already looking a lot cleaner. I'm very proud of the progress that this one has made. Let's see. New palette from Sprite. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 colors. That's pretty good, honestly. That feels very economical. I will say we could probably get rid of at least a couple of those by just making the eyes a solid color. How's that? Oh, yeah. That's the ticket. Okay. I'm going to save... I'm going to export... Hang on. I'm going to save as... And then I'm going to shrink the sprite again. I have to see what's beyond... What we can do with this. Okay, let's divide it by 5. I like how when you do it, like, divide by 5 or divide by 6 or some shit, it becomes, like, the idea of what was previously there. This is, like, ultra Brit crush. Like, this is, like, now YouTube poop levels of, it's me, Goku! This is like the faint remnant of Goku. Like, some Dragon Ball fan has been in a coma since 1997 and is like in bed having this flash through his mind. Okay, let's not do divided by 5. Let's do... How about by 3? Divided by 3. Just one singular angry eye, one row of pixels for the mouth. It's dire out here. But I believe we can work with it. Okay, let's clean up the hair a little bit. We can also add another eye here. Thinking about the idea of evil from Berserk, but it's just the idea of Goku. Okay, let's see here. Scatter a couple more black pixels here and there just so it's more defined. Okay, very nice. Let's see Son Goku's card. Okay, this looks more symmetrical. We can probably darken more of the face here. No, that's too much. Okay, maybe just one more pixel over there. Yeah, some of these aren't making a lot of sense, so like, let's try to correct that while we can. Okay, if we move these 2 pixels down by a couple of pixels, I think we might have some... I mean, kinda. Feel like we're getting close to a more distinguishable Goku. A more discrete Goku per pixel. Pixel art is so fucking hard. But that's okay. This will be worth it. Because, or actually no, it's not going to be worth it for me because I'm never actually going to end up like putting this up on W places. It's all just practice for me to like turn a picture of myself into pixel art eventually. That was gonna be the big reveal. I'm just gonna like turn myself into pixel art. I'm gonna put it on W place somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I should make it like a sort of bounty. If you can find where in the world Pablo Riza is, you get like a free drawing. Anything your heart desires. God. The problem is I don't know if like you can look up pixel stuff in W plays. I don't know if you can like uncover that. It's hard to say. People did this for 15 years before we invented polygons, and I salute them every single day of my life. I've seen some of the shit they've done with like PC98 graphics, and I feel like being able to do that shit must have been like being some manner of sorcerer. Having knowledge of like how to do really good pixel art back in the day must be the equivalent of like having VTuber rigging knowledge nowadays. I mean, obviously, pixel art is still a very highly coveted skill because its prevalence in game development. I mean, game development is a tough economy that I'm not really equipped to talk about, I feel like. But all the same, you know, it's... The world is broad and the needs of creative people are very varied. But pixel art stocks have definitely been on the downturn for quite some time now. God, 15 years, huh? Sometimes I wonder why we never look back on certain styles of artistry, and in a lot of the cases it's just like they were more trouble than they were worth compared to their digitized counterparts. So it does make sense that why even though some stuff is more elegant in certain art styles, and some people still choose to use different ones. God, 15 years, huh? It's a long time. Just a few strategically placed white pixels here and there. Just to really make it pop. Okay. 45 by 60 pixels. You know what? That's not too bad. Although it does occur to me we could comfortably divide that by 3. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. 45 by 80 pixels. Never mind, we cannot comfortably divide that by 3. We could probably divide it by 5, but then we'd have... Okay, that'd be 4 by 16 pixels, which I don't think is... You know what? Never mind. That's not a good idea. Let's not do that. Can I just, like, hang on. Could I maybe just grab this part here and then just, like, move it one to the right? That's still pretty recognizably Angry Goku, it feels like. I don't know, from a distance it looks pretty good. Okay, yeah. Actually, come to think of it, are there any pictures of myself that are, like, good for... Yeah, it's a pretty good Goku, all things considered. You know what? Drawing myself takes, like, 5 seconds. I'm just gonna do that. Let's crack open CSP again. So let's do 500 by 500 so we have a nice, neat quantity of pixels. Alright, so let's just do... I think a peace sign is probably a pretty good one. Hang on. I'm gonna try and make this look like some kind of spray art in a... That I would... I don't know, I feel like this thick lined style is very reminiscent of graffiti. I need to... Hang on. I need to make myself look wider. I don't know. I feel like my width is one of my defining features, so if I don't make myself wide enough, I feel like that's false advertising. I don't know. It does feel like recently wide guy stocks are kind of going up. You know, with the release of Donkey Kong, you know, Donkey Kong's a pretty wide guy, and people seem to love him. Okay. Let's see. Two, three. Perfect. This actually looks kind of cute. I like how this one came out, although I do want to maybe put the sleeve up here instead. It also just does feel appropriate to make it look kind of graffiti-ish, considering that's what kind of the... It feels like the concept of W Place is very much based on the idea that anybody can scribble on this wall. You know what I mean? I feel like it's one of those situations where that's part of the art piece. The beauty of it is that anybody can contribute to it. Let's see. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna grab... Where the hell is my reference file? Attack that makes me green. Attack that makes me pink. I'm hoping this one's a lot neater than the other two were, because mostly for the reason that I want to not have to struggle with like recoloring everything and shit. I have a very limited color palette compared to some of these, so I'm hoping it won't be such a federal issue when I try to shrinkflate mine. Let's put a little bit more color in my cheeks for this one. Okay. Let's put this in this folder here. Remove the background, crop it so that it's only this part here. Export. This is 417 by 341 pixels, so I'm in a little bit, I'm a little bit worried about what it's gonna be like when I when I try to use the division tool for it. But it's fine. There's no reason to be afraid of anything. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. We need to crunch this visage of you. They keep saying that at my workplace, too. I hope it doesn't mean anything. Why can't I use my tool? Hello? Why can't... Why is it not letting me... Okay. Something's weird again. Why isn't it letting me change the pixels? Am I doing something wrong? What's happening here? Hang on. Sprite, color mode. RGB color, yeah. So hang on. Maybe if I do it indexed. Why? Why? I genuinely think that Ace Sprite has some kind of grudge against me. Why else does it... Like, why is it fucking with me like this? No, wait, there we go. I think? Yeah, no, there we go. Yeah, okay, we're back. Okay, no, it just wanted to fuck with me that specific time. For whatever reason. I don't know. The issues were solved, I don't need to consider it any further. Okay. Let's use... You know what? We don't need to index a color. Or wait, no, we do actually. Okay, so let's see. Color mode, blah, blah, blah. New palette from Sprite. Let's do 15 colors. Oh, was that too few? My fault. Hang on. New palette from Sprite. Let's do 32 again. Can't help but notice a small detail. Hey, let's play a quick game. Tell me if you can spot the difference. God, okay. I wonder how it chooses to prioritize which colors to... Hang on, new palette from Sprite. Create entries with alpha component. Advanced options. RGB palette to index mapping. Table 5 RGB bits plus alpha 3 bits. What? You know what, let's try this other one for now. You know what, that's significantly better. I'll take that, sure. Let's see. Sprite size. Divide that fucker by 6. Hey, that's actually really good. Minimal loss of detail? I think that we can cook with this. Also 69 by 56, nice. Okay. Okay, maybe like this. Yeah, no, put that one back. Like, some of these are looking a little questionable, but otherwise we're actually making pretty good time. Honestly, I do also really like the fact that some of them do look the way they do. Like, I'm actually thinking of keeping this kind of other color here, because the limits that they put on the W place thing aren't on colors, but rather on the number of pixels total. So I could pretty much do whatever. By the way, I can't see the canvas. Ah. Thank you. I'd forgotten to switch back after closing Clip Studio Paint. It's been a while since that's happened. I need like a big board to count the number of days since the last time that happens, just so we have so we can do a fun bit about it, rather than me having to bask in my relative lack of organization. I've been getting much better about not letting that happen, but I think, yeah, you know, you can't. Nobody's perfect. I'm gonna slip sometimes. Okay. Okay. I'll try and keep the line width to just 1 pixel on the border. Let's actually make this like that, and then have another one out here. No, maybe out here? Nope. How about here? That seems good. Okay. Gonna give myself a haircut here. Rice cut, whatever. Alright, that's looking pretty cute. Give yourself a bowl cut. I've always got a bowl cut. I'm a bag of rice. Yeah, I'm made for the bowl. I'm like a monk in their tonsure. Tonsure. Bonjour is that shit they say in France instead of hello, isn't it? Okay, let's see. We should probably fix the logo on my shirt a little bit, huh? It's looking a little bit busted as is. But not too busted, thankfully. Might need just an extra little bit of... an extra little pixel of clearance here. Just try to scroll zoom out because I thought this was my canvas! I mean... if you want to take a look at the whole thing... I've been there, though. We all talk a lot about, like, backseating in like streaming. I don't think we talk enough about the fact that sometimes you need to resist the urge to like art backseat. sometimes I will like happen upon another art VTuber, and I'll need to like stay my tongue because I want to like say something, but at the same time I don't know if they like need to hear all that or they can just figure it out on their own. But like it can be tough sometimes. You have to trust the process. You need to let it. Sometimes you gotta just let them figure it out. If they do ask if something's wrong with it though, that's when I step in. That's like, all right, my time to shine. Like if somebody's like, yeah, I don't know why this looks wrong. I don't know why this is doing. That's when I'll like put on my nerd emoji glass and I'll be like, actually. But yeah, you have to keep that in there. You have to rein in the power level. And sometimes they do something unexpected and it looks even better than what I thought. That's why it's especially valuable to just like let them cook. I think those are my favorite instances of when that happens. Mostly because it just means that I have seen something new that day. It literally becomes like that one cutscene from Yakuza 0 where Kira's like, "That's rad." Like when I all realize that they're doing some shit I've never seen before. It's great. Okay. We can probably get rid of these like darker pink bits here and there. The weird thing is that I think like the darker pink bits, hang on, if we do it like this, I feel like the darker pink bits actually help to distinguish the letters a little bit. Okay. Let's all right. I'm going to export it as it is. So hang on, save as wplacepabs1. And now it's time to increase the decrease. So sprite size divided by 3. Oh dear. I shan't lie, this one's a toughie. I mean, God, just look at it. Where do I even begin? Hang on. Okay. We can begin like this. So let's start off first with the peace sign. Oh, this one's tough. I mean, how big is this? 23 by 18. Oh, man. Okay, let's try... We gotta go back a little further. Okay, so let's see. So, okay, sprite size. Okay, we did 3 last time, right? What about divided by 2? Okay, that's much more manageable. That's significantly more manageable. I can work with this. Okay. Yeah, no. So, okay, what's the total size of this one then? 34 by 27. I can live with that. I'm gonna need to like thin out my face a little bit. It's so dire for real estate out here. I mean, no, that's really harsh on the eyes. Is there something we can do? Hang on. Is there anything we can do for the... Hang on. We need to do something about the key black here. So let's... Can we not just convert this into this color? Helping, but not helpful. How about this one? Maybe a little something like this. That still looks really pixelated. Can I rotate this in any way? I guess not. Alright. Okay. Okay. I'm pioneering new and complex ways of rendering rice. We're doing shit that hasn't ever been seen before. Let's see. We can probably use this for the outer edges of the hoodie. Instead of the more purpley color. Okay. My lips just look chapped like this. God damn it. No, it's really not working out. But that's okay. We just have to continue believing. Believe in victory. Maybe, hang on, maybe we go, nope. It's so difficult to create something meaningful in this world. Always is. That's true. Broadly speaking, there's no situation where it isn't difficult to create something meaningful. It's like that phrase goes, right? If it was easy, everybody would do it. At least that's looking much more defined like me instead of, anything else. Hang on. Broadly speaking, or, you know, very specifically speaking, how much pixel real estate would we really need for... Now, this just makes it look like I'm like a Marotsuki. I deadass look like I'm wearing the shirt that girl from Yume Nikki is wearing. We gotta try something different. Okay, that's where that is on the color palette. Okay, got it. Oh god, okay. We can just move this one over. How do we make like the idea of a P? How do we like engage Plato's discourse on the ideal on forms? Maybe lowercase? Lowercase. I'm reaching for straws. I can feel it. I'm about to. I'm way in over my head. Hang on. Maybe it doesn't need to be like a super stark color. So maybe. Hang on. Okay, wait. This would be background art on a subway in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles level. That's kind of the vibe that I was going for, actually. That's thank you. Big compliment. Okay, I think that's about as close as we're gonna get to like the idea of text, broadly speaking. Or actually, you know what? Hang on. If I wanted to be super specific about some of this stuff, right? Who's to say we actually need... Hang on. Or actually, hang on. Alright, this might be... Hang on. Braille alphabet. I think we can finagle something here. Okay. Okay. Okay, we got... Okay, how many rows do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rows. Each one of these occupies... No, if we think about it if we think about it from the perspective of the minimum space each one would need. Okay, so this is P. This is A. B is 2 dots. And then the S is 3 dots like this. Ah, beautiful. And then we would just use this. Perfect. This still technically has my name on it, and now I don't. And it was very economical on space. Today I am a genius. Well, I'm always a genius, but at the same time, but you know, today especially. Feel like it's coming through stronger than usual. Okay, maybe... Hang on, what about this color? Oh, how about this one? Maybe just a little bit darker. Wait, that's basically identical to this one, then. How's this? That's too purple. This one's also very purple. I feel like this is fucking up the flow. Let's just go back to how it was previously. No, actually, I kind of like that first one, come to think of it. I think that for that one I used this one here, right? Okay, if we darken that just a smidgen. All right. I think this is about as good as it's gonna get. 34 pixel by 27, and technically we can probably get that down to... Hang on. Get out of there. Technically we can get that at 32 by 26, and we don't even need that many. How many... Is there a way to count, like, the total number of pixels we would need? I guess that would be a bit much. Okay, but yeah, no, we have a background now. We have a strategy at least. All right, I think that's gonna do it for today. Quite honestly, what a shit show the stream has been. God. Well, there are also days like that. Looking at it charitably, it's keeping stuff interesting, right? It's important to think on the bright side. Okay, yeah, I think that's gonna be it for me for today. I'm just gonna close out the stream. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good week. Have a good rest of your week. And yeah, no, I definitely learned a lot from this one. I learned a lot about that one specific process for changing normal raster images into like more pixel arty stuff. So that's always useful. But yeah, take it easy. I'll see you all later. See you on Thursday for another... Wait, no, actually, I need to reschedule Thursdays for Friday because I got a thing on Thursday. I'll need to remember to post that announcement. Thank you for reminding me. All right, take it easy. Bye.